Ancient civilizations possessed technological secrets that could solve our most urgent modern problems. By the end of this journey, you will discover 20 forgotten innovations that offer a genuine blueprint for a sustainable future. We will uncover how a 2,000-year-old concrete can repair its own cracks, and why a clay jar from Baghdad might rewrite the entire history of electricity. These are not just relics, they are powerful ideas waiting for a second chance. What single piece of lost wisdom do you wish we could reclaim today? That blueprint for a sustainable future was almost lost forever. The greatest threat to human progress has never been a lack of intelligence, but the fragility of knowledge itself. Across the centuries, entire libraries of practical science have vanished into informational black holes. The burning of the Library of Alexandria is a famous tragedy, but it represents a much deeper pattern. Historians like Dr. Elena Vance point out that we often underestimate how much specialized, hands-on knowledge was never written down at all. It lived in the hands of the master artisan, passed carefully to a single apprentice through years of patient work. This delicate chain of transmission could be shattered in an instant by conflict, by a shifting trade route, or by a natural disaster. What we call Dark Ages were not simply periods of ignorance, they were the collapse of entire technological ecosystems. When a society fragments, its most advanced crafts are often the first things to disappear. The secret to a unique metal alloy or a revolutionary building technique dies with the last guild that knew its rhythms. This is why we find ourselves today staring at objects like the Antikythera Mechanism, a complex bronze calculator found in a shipwreck, and realizing that an ancient civilization possessed a sophistication we did not credit them with. Their knowledge was not lost because it was useless. It was lost because the world that sustained it fell apart. Recognizing this pattern of loss makes the modern recovery of these ideas not just exciting, but profoundly significant. We are not just digging up artifacts, we are reconnecting broken threads in the great story of human ingenuity. Those ancient Roman harbors stand as a silent challenge to our modern world. Their concrete structures not merely enduring the relentless sea, but actively fighting back against decay. While our own concrete can succumb in just 50 years, these Roman works have thrived for 2,000. The difference is not in the strength of the stone, but in its brilliant imperfection. Modern concrete is designed to be a uniform, inert mass. The Roman recipe was a living system. They mixed volcanic ash, lime, and chunks of rock, creating a material that was intentionally heterogeneous. The real genius lies in those lumps of quicklime known as lime clasts. For centuries, they were dismissed as evidence of sloppy mixing. We now know they are the material's secret healing mechanism. When a tiny crack forms and water seeps in, it reacts with this trapped, unreacted lime. A fascinating chemical process begins, forming new crystalline structures that literally knit the fracture closed. As engineer Dr. Liam Chen explains, the Romans accidentally created a lime-clast system where exposed lime recrystallizes to fill fractures. We are now trying to replicate this synthetically. Imagine the implications for our own cities. Bridges could sense their own stress and begin to mend. Sea walls could become more resilient with every passing storm. Our entire approach to infrastructure would shift from one of constant, costly repair to one of long-term stewardship. This single rediscovery could fundamentally reshape urban resilience, pointing toward a future built not just for us, but for generations to come. It proves that sometimes the most advanced path forward is to rediscover a 2,000-year-old idea. This same principle of rediscovery applies to a much smaller, yet equally baffling, artifact found in a Baghdad basement. That small clay jar in the Baghdad Museum's collection is a quiet but profound mystery. It consists of nothing more than a simple clay pot, an iron rod, and a copper cylinder. Yet when filled with a common acidic substance like vinegar or lemon juice, this assembly becomes something extraordinary, a primitive battery capable of generating a small electrical current. For decades, its purpose was debated, with some dismissing it as a mere storage vessel for scrolls. But then, replicas were built and tested, revealing its true potential. The current it produces is weak, barely a volt, but it is perfectly sufficient for a specific transformative process, electroplating. A thin layer of gold could be transferred onto a silver object, creating a dazzling, gilded surface without the need for a massive forge or immense heat. This was not about lighting a city, but about mastering a subtle chemical principle for artistry and craft. Historian of science Professor Ava Reed clarifies that this is not about generating power for cities, but about demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of electrochemical principles 1,000 years before Galvani. The true lesson of the Baghdad Battery is one of elegant efficiency. Rediscovering this principle today could revolutionize how we approach metal treatment. Instead of vast, energy-intensive industrial plants for plating, we could develop localized, low-energy processes for repair and creation, drastically reducing the environmental footprint of modern metallurgy. It stands as a powerful reminder that not all progress is about scale. Sometimes the most profound innovations are small, simple, and incredibly smart. From these subtle whispers of ancient electricity, we turn to a technology born from conflict, a weapon so advanced its very existence was once considered a myth. The roar of Greek fire was said to be as terrifying as its flames. Byzantine ships wielded a weapon that did not just burn, it defied the sea itself, clinging to water and wood with an unquenchable grip. Historical accounts describe a liquid inferno, projected through bronze tubes with a thunderous noise and clouds of black smoke. For centuries, this formula was the Byzantine Empire's most closely guarded state secret, a technological advantage so profound that its precise recipe died with the civilization that perfected it. Modern analysis points toward a petroleum-based naphtha mixture, likely enhanced with quicklime or other chemicals that ignited upon contact with water. The strategic impact was immense. Naval historian Captain Marcus Thorne notes that the true power of Greek fire was not merely its destructive capability, but the psychological warfare of an unstoppable blaze that rendered every conventional defense utterly useless. The very element that should save a sailor, the ocean, became a sheet of flame. The pursuit of its lost formula is more than a historical curiosity. It is a genuine scientific quest. Understanding how this ancient incendiary worked could unlock new classes of industrial incendiaries for safe, controlled demolition, or inspire revolutionary fire suppression techniques by revealing the chemical principles that made it so persistent. This fiery mystery, born from the heat of naval conflict, stands in stark contrast to our next technology, a serene and monumental achievement in architectural precision that required no flame at all. High in the Andes, the silent stones of Inca walls tell a story of profound resilience. These monumental structures, assembled from countless interlocking blocks, have endured centuries of violent earthquakes that have repeatedly reduced modern cities to rubble right beside them. Their secret was not brute strength but brilliant flexibility. The Inca stonemasons did not use mortar. Instead, they perfected the art of cutting polygonal stones, each one a unique, irregular puzzle piece that fit perfectly with its neighbors. This created a dynamic, monolithic wall that could move as a single, coherent unit. during a seismic event, the stones sway and settle, absorbing and distributing the tremendous energy. They essentially dance with the quake, and when the shaking stops, they return almost perfectly to their original positions. Structural engineer Dr. Isabella Gomez describes this as a brilliant example of aseismic design through flexibility and mass. The stones dance during a quake, then return to their original positions. This ancient understanding of kinetic energy offers a radical alternative to our modern approach of rigid resistance. Applying these principles today could revolutionize construction in earthquake-prone regions. Imagine buildings made from locally sourced stone or prefabricated concrete blocks designed to interlock in this same way. This would create disaster-resilient housing for developing nations, bypassing the immense cost and imported materials of steel and concrete frameworks. It is a blueprint for communities that work in harmony with the powerful forces of our planet, rather than fighting a losing battle against them. This ancient wisdom found high in the mountains finds a parallel in a technology that thrived in the desert heat, a system for creating cool comfort deep beneath the earth. Deep within the heart of sun-scorched deserts, Persian architects mastered the art of making cool air from nothing but the wind itself. Their wind-catcher towers, known as bagirs, rose gracefully above the skyline, not as monuments, but as ingenious climate control systems. Each tower was meticulously oriented to capture the slightest breeze, funneling it down into the building's interior. Often, this air would be directed over an underground water reservoir, where the simple process of evaporation would drop the temperature significantly, creating a refreshing, naturally cooled environment without a single watt of electricity. Sustainability expert Dr. Raj Patel observes that this is biomimicry before the term existed, harnessing wind patterns and evaporation exactly as nature does. The entire system operates on pure thermodynamics and brilliant design, a testament to achieving comfort not by conquering the environment, but by working in concert with it. Imagine applying this ancient logic to our modern glass and steel cities. Structures could be designed with integrated wind catcher systems that drastically reduce the need for conventional air conditioning, slashing energy consumption and mitigating the oppressive urban heat island effect. This is not a step backward but a leap forward, a beautiful marriage of timeless traditional design and the urgent needs of contemporary green architecture. It proves that true sustainability is not always about creating more complex technology, but about rediscovering the elegant intelligence of the past. This principle of working intelligently with nature extends beyond creating comfort to the very act of creating life where it seems impossible, as we see in the next remarkable innovation. The silence of the Nabatean desert is a testament to one of history's greatest paradoxes, a thriving metropolis built where rain almost never falls. At Petra, a city that once supported tens of thousands, the secret to life was not found in fighting the harsh climate, but in a profound collaboration with it. With a mere 6 inches of annual rainfall, the Nabateans engineered a hydraulic marvel. They constructed an intricate network of dams, cisterns, and precisely sloped ceramic pipelines designed to capture every precious drop from sudden, violent flash floods. The genius was in the details, the slopes of their channels calculated to a specific grade that minimized both destructive silt buildup and loss from evaporation. Archaeologist Dr. Samuel Ford explains that they did not fight the desert, they listened to it, understanding flash floods and water flow on a granular level. This was not brute force engineering, it was a symphony of observation and adaptation. The modern implications are staggering. In our own era of increasing drought and water scarcity, these ancient principles offer a blueprint for survival. Arid region agriculture could be transformed by systems that harvest floodwaters with this same elegant efficiency. Entire cities could be redesigned to capture and conserve their own water, turning crisis zones into self-sufficient communities. The Nabateans teach us that true resource management is not about having more, but about wasting nothing. This mastery over a fundamental element finds its parallel in an innovation that sought to command another, the very air we breathe. While the Nabateans mastered water, the Romans turned their genius to a different element, conquering the cold with an invisible warmth that rose from the very floors. In the villas and bathhouses of the empire, comfort was engineered from the ground up through a brilliant network known as the Hypocaust. A central furnace would heat air, which then circulated through a space created by a grid of short pillars supporting the floor. This warm breath traveled upward, not only through the hollow tiles underfoot but sometimes through specially constructed wall cavities, bathing entire rooms in a gentle, enveloping heat. Unlike our modern forced air systems that can create dry, stuffy blasts, this was a fundamentally different kind of comfort. It was radiant. The heat was transferred directly from the warm surfaces to the people and objects in the room, a far more efficient and physically pleasant experience. Heating engineer Sofia Kowalski notes that radiant heat is more efficient and comfortable than convective systems, and the Romans perfected its large-scale application 2,000 years before it became trendy. The potential for our time is immense. We could reimagine this ancient luxury by pairing it with modern, clean energy sources. Imagine a hypocaust system where the furnace is replaced by geothermal loops or solar thermal panels, providing ultra-efficient, low-carbon heating for entire buildings. This is not merely a historical curiosity. It is a powerful blueprint for how we can achieve modern comfort without the staggering energy cost, proving that sustainable living can be rooted in profound, ancient wisdom. That same Roman pursuit of beauty and strength extended to a material that seemed to defy the very nature of glass. The legendary swords of Damascus were more than just weapons. They were liquid metal captured in solid form. Their surfaces shimmered with the appearance of flowing water, a visual signature that belied a metallurgical miracle. These blades were reputed to be so flexible they could bend from hilt to tip, and so sharp they could slice a silk scarf floating in the air. For centuries, the secret of their creation was lost, a casualty of broken supply chains and lost craft traditions. But modern science is now revealing the incredible truth. When researchers analyzed surviving fragments under powerful electron microscopes, they found structures we consider the height of modern nanotechnology, carbon nanotubes and cementite nanowires. These microscopic reinforcements were forged into the steel itself, creating a composite material of unparalleled strength and resilience. Materials scientist Dr. Kenji Tanaka explains that the Smiths were inadvertently performing nanotechnology through precise thermal cycling and impurity control, a process we are still deciphering. This was not an accident of chemistry, but the result of a meticulously controlled craft. The process began with a specific type of high-quality iron ore from India known as Wootz steel. Through a secretive and complex series of heating, hammering, and cooling cycles, the Smiths manipulated the steel's internal structure at a molecular level, coaxing carbon into forming those legendary nanotubes. The loss of this art represents a pinnacle of metallurgical craftsmanship that we are only now beginning to understand. The implications for our world are profound. Mastering this ancient process could allow us to create new composite materials for aerospace, where every ounce of weight saved translates to immense savings in fuel. It could lead to stronger, more biocompatible medical implants and cutting tools that maintain their edge under incredible stress. This is the holy grail of modern materials science, combining incredible strength with reduced weight, and the blueprint was held in the hands of sword makers 1,000 years ago. From a technology that served the warrior's body, we turn to one that nurtured the human spirit in a different way, a tradition of healing that connected the mind and body through the earth itself. The Sushruta Samhita presents a world where surgery was a refined science, not a desperate gamble. This ancient Indian text, composed over 2,000 years ago, details a breathtaking array of procedures from cataract removal and cesarean sections to intricate reconstructive surgery, all performed with a set of more than 120 specialized tools. These were not crude implements of bone or stone, but sophisticated instruments of metal, many bearing an uncanny resemblance to the scalpels, forceps, and probes found in a modern operating room. The true genius of this system, however, lay not just in the tools themselves, but in the holistic philosophy that guided their use. Practitioners employed herbal concoctions as potent antiseptics to cleanse wounds and utilized natural sedatives to manage discomfort, all while emphasizing meticulous patient care and precise anatomical knowledge. Medical historian Dr. Priya Sharma clarifies that they understood anatomy, sterilization, and the principles of surgery in a way that would not be rediscovered in the West for over 2,000 years. This was a complete medical ecosystem, a fusion of technical skill and compassionate practice. The modern potential locked within these pages is immense. Imagine designing a new generation of minimalist, robust surgical kits for field hospitals in remote areas or for use in disaster zones, inspired by the elegant efficiency of these ancient designs. The reintroduction of their studied natural anesthetics and antiseptics could offer powerful, accessible alternatives in a world grappling with antibiotic resistance. This was not mere primitive medicine. It was a sophisticated, holistic approach to healing that viewed the body as a system to be understood and restored. Such profound earthly knowledge finds a stunning parallel in a technology that looked not inward to the body, but outward to the cosmos, seeking answers in the precise movements of the stars. The Antikythera Mechanism was pulled from the sea not as a single machine, but as a collection of corroded bronze fragments, a ghost of a technology that should not exist. For decades, these green shards puzzled historians, their true nature only revealed by painstaking modern imaging. Inside was a universe of precision, a clockwork cosmos of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, each tooth cut with a purpose. This was not a simple timekeeper. It was a machine that could predict the dancing paths of planets, forecast solar and lunar eclipses with stunning accuracy, and even track the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. Professor of Classics Dr. Henry Lewis describes it as a portable, mechanical simulation of the cosmos, a computer in the truest sense. It modeled the messy, irregular motions of the heavens with the clean, predictable logic of turning gears. This single device rewrites our understanding of ancient Greek technology, proving they possessed a knowledge of mechanical engineering that would not be rivaled for over 1,000 years. The profound lesson here is not just about astronomy, but about a different way of processing information. In our digital age, we rely on fragile silicon chips and fleeting code. The Antikythera Mechanism offers a vision of robust physical computation. Its analog design, where the answer is found in the position of a gear, could inspire new tools for critical systems in extreme environments where digital electronics fail, from deep space to the ocean floor. It also provides a powerful educational model, turning abstract celestial mechanics into something you can hold in your hands and see in motion. This ancient computer stands as a permanent monument to our species' insatiable need to map the patterns of existence. That same drive to make sense of the world guided another civilization to create a land-based navigation system of breathtaking scale and simplicity. The Norse sagas whisper of a magic stone, a sunstone that could reveal the hidden sun. For Viking navigators crossing the treacherous, cloud-shrouded North Atlantic, this was not a myth but a matter of survival. Modern experiments point to a remarkable truth. These sunstones were likely crystals of Iceland spar, a form of calcite that possesses a unique property. It polarizes light, filtering the scattered rays that penetrate cloud cover or twilight. By rotating the crystal and observing changes in brightness, a skilled user could pinpoint the sun's position with stunning accuracy, even when it was physically invisible below the horizon. Naval archaeologist Dr. Freya Larsen confirms this gave them a celestial compass unaffected by weather, a tremendous advantage in the North Atlantic. This was a form of natural technology, turning a simple mineral into a sophisticated navigation instrument. The modern potential is immense. In an age reliant on fragile global positioning satellites that can be disrupted by solar storms or electronic warfare, this ancient principle offers a perfect low-tech backup. Imagine aircraft and ships equipped with modernized sunstone sensors, providing a fail-safe navigation method that requires no external signals. Furthermore, the deep study of how these crystals manipulate light is inspiring new optical technologies, leading to advanced sensors and imaging systems that can see through haze or glare with unprecedented clarity. It is a profound lesson in observing and harnessing the subtle physics of the natural world. This mastery of the environment on a grand scale defined our next civilization, one that reshaped entire continents with fire and earth. The Banaue rice terraces rise like giant green stairways to the sky, a 2,000-year-old agricultural system that still feeds communities today. Carved into the Cordillera Mountains by the Ifugao people, these terraces are far more than beautiful landscapes. They are a masterclass in hydrological engineering. Each level, held firm by walls of stone and mud, creates a series of flat paddies on impossibly steep slopes. This intricate design does more than just provide flat land for planting. It fundamentally transforms the environment. The terraces create their own microclimates, where the water in each paddy moderates temperature and humidity, while the entire structure prevents catastrophic soil erosion that would otherwise wash the mountainside away. The true genius, however, flows through an elaborate irrigation network, a delicate web of canals and bamboo pipes that carefully distributes water from the rainforests cloaking the peaks above. Agricultural historian Dr. Mei Lin explains that this is a closed-loop system that has sustained itself for millennia without external inputs, a model of perennial agriculture. Nothing is wasted. The water nurtures the rice waste feeds the soil, and the soil, held securely in place, continues to produce. This ancient wisdom offers a direct and powerful solution to modern crises. In mountainous regions worldwide, where hillside farming often leads to devastating soil degradation and water loss, these principles could be revolutionary. Instead of fighting the slope, we can work with it, creating terraced systems that conserve every drop of water and build fertile ground for generations. This is not a nostalgic dream. It is a practical blueprint for feeding growing populations without destroying the very land that sustains them. Such enduring feats of civil engineering paved the way for empires that would shape the ancient world through an even more fundamental technology. The spine of the Roman Empire was not built of marble or gold, but of gravel and stone. Their legendary roads stretched for over 250,000 miles, a web of connectivity so durable that some routes still support traffic 2,000 years later. This longevity was no accident. It was the product of a meticulous, multi-layered engineering philosophy that began deep underground. The Romans did not simply lay a path, they built a system. First, they excavated a trench and drove in wooden piles to stabilize the ground. Then, they constructed a foundation of large stones, the stotumen, followed by a layer of rubble mixed with lime, the rudis. The heart of the road was the nucleus, a concrete mix of gravel and sand, all crowned by the final wearing surface of tightly fitted, interlocking polygonal stones. The genius was in the details, a subtle convex surface that shed rainwater into drainage ditches running alongside, preventing the subsurface erosion that plagues modern asphalt. Civil engineer Marco Rossi observes that their understanding of geotechnics and drainage created a resilient infrastructure we struggle to match today with our faster, cheaper methods. We prioritize speed of construction over long-term performance, leading to a perpetual cycle of costly repairs and disruptions. The Roman model offers a radical alternative, building for permanence rather than convenience. Adopting these durable, low-maintenance techniques today could revolutionize infrastructure, especially in developing nations. It would mean investing more upfront to create transportation networks that serve communities for generations, drastically reducing their total life cycle cost and environmental footprint from constant reconstruction. This is more than a lesson in civil engineering. It is a lesson in foresight. Just as these roads connected a vast terrestrial empire, our next discovery reveals how another civilization charted a course across a far vaster expanse, the night sky. The stars above the Australian outback hold stories more ancient than any written text. For over 50,000 years, Aboriginal cultures have woven a profound understanding of the cosmos into the very fabric of their existence, using the night sky as a calendar, a map, and a sacred narrative. This was not merely stargazing, it was a sophisticated science of memory, where the movements of celestial bodies were encoded in oral traditions, song lines, and rock art with breathtaking precision. They tracked the subtle wobble in the Earth's axis known as the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle that takes 26,000 years to complete. Astrophysicist Dr. Alan Green describes this as a living library of astronomical observation, tracking variable stars and celestial events over millennia with an accuracy that challenges modern historical records. This deep time perspective offers something our own telescopic era cannot, a continuous record of stellar behavior across epochs. Imagine what modern astronomy could learn from this unparalleled dataset, revealing long-term patterns in variable stars or the frequency of supernova events that are simply invisible in our short scientific timeline. Beyond pure data, this knowledge offers a new way of seeing, a model for education that connects rigorous spatial awareness with cultural meaning and storytelling. It proves that science and heritage are not separate paths to understanding, but can be woven together into a richer, more complete picture of our place in the universe. This celestial wisdom represents one of humanity's oldest continuous relationships with the cosmos, a bond forged not with lenses and metal, but with memory and meaning. That same innovative spirit, applied on a more terrestrial scale, defined our next discovery, a partnership between human ingenuity and animal power that transformed a continent. The quiet genius of the Qanat system lies in its gentle slope, a masterpiece of hydrological patience carved deep beneath the desert floor. While modern wells aggressively pump aquifers dry, the Persian Qanat is a conversation with the water table. It begins with a mother well dug deep into the foothills, tapping into an underground aquifer. From there, skilled engineers would tunnel a gently sloping channel, just enough for gravity to pull the water along, sometimes for dozens of miles. At regular intervals, vertical access shafts were dug to the surface, not only for clearing silt but also for providing ventilation and marking the tunnel's hidden path. Water resource specialist Dr. Hassan Al-Mansur clarifies that a Qanat is a sustainable groundwater mining technique that does not deplete the aquifer, as it only draws what naturally flows. This slow, steady harvest meant the water source could replenish itself, ensuring its survival for centuries, even millennia, without causing the salinization that plagues modern irrigated fields. The water that finally emerged at the surface was cool, clean, and ready to nourish cities and farmlands in the harshest of climates. The modern applications of this ancient logic are more urgent than ever. In arid regions, reviving Qanat technology could provide a sustainable lifeline for agriculture without the destructive drawdown of precious groundwater. The constant temperature of the water flowing through these underground tunnels, often a cool 60 degrees Fahrenheit, could also be harnessed for passive climate control in buildings, reducing our reliance on energy-hungry air conditioning systems. This is ecological engineering at its most profound, a technology that works in silent harmony with the Earth's own systems. This mastery of a fundamental resource finds its parallel in an innovation that sought to capture and control a far more elusive element, light itself. The dazzling brilliance of a Mayan mirror was not born from glass but from a mosaic of Earth's own geometry. These intricate discs, painstakingly assembled from hundreds of perfectly polished iron pyrite tiles, could capture the sun's raw power and reflect it as a single, searing beam of light. In the hands of a Mayan astronomer or priest, this was more than a simple tool. It was a means of communication across vast jungle canopies, a central element in sacred ceremonies that connected the earthly and the divine, and a potential method for summoning fire from the heavens itself. The true marvel lies in the craftsmanship. Each tiny tile of fool's gold had to be ground to an impossibly flat, smooth surface, and then aligned with its neighbors to create a near-perfect parabolic curve. Optical physicist Dr. Maria Flores points out that the surface quality and alignment of these pyrite pieces created a reflective surface rivaling early modern glass mirrors, achieved through incredible lapidary skill. This was an advanced understanding of optics, material science, and precision engineering, all accomplished without the aid of modern metallurgy. The modern potential locked within this ancient artistry is immense. Our current solar power industry relies on large, expensive mirrors, often made with rare or difficult-to-source materials, to concentrate sunlight. By studying the Mayan technique of creating highly effective reflectors from common, durable minerals, we could develop entirely new methods for producing low-cost, robust reflective surfaces. This could dramatically enhance the efficiency and accessibility of solar thermal plants, bringing clean energy to more communities and reducing our reliance on fragile global supply chains. It is a powerful testament to the idea that the most advanced solutions can sometimes be assembled from the simplest, most abundant elements the Earth provides. From this brilliant manipulation of sunlight high in the jungle, we plunge into the cool, dark depths where another civilization engineered a material that seemed to defy the very passage of time. The vast Pacific Ocean was not a barrier to the Polynesians, but a familiar pathway written in a language of waves and wind. For centuries, they accomplished the impossible, navigating thousands of miles of open ocean in double-hulled canoes without a single compass or chart. Their instrument was the world itself. They learned to read the subtle refraction of swells as they wrapped around distant islands, creating a mental map of the seafloor. They watched the specific flight patterns of homing birds at dusk, knowing they would lead to land. They memorized the star paths that wheeled overhead, and they even learned to interpret the ghostly glow of bioluminescence in the wake, a sign of specific water conditions and marine life. This was wayfinding, a complete immersion in the environment. As Master Navigator Nainoa Thompson explains, you are not navigating the ocean, you are navigating a relationship with the ocean, feeling its rhythms in your body. This is a profound form of environmental literacy, a living database of interconnected natural signs. In our modern struggle to understand climate change, this ancient practice offers a powerful lesson. Instead of relying solely on isolated data points from sophisticated machines, we could learn to read the subtle, early warning signs in our own local ecosystems, the shifting migration patterns of birds, the changing bloom times of plants, the altered behaviors of insects. This holistic awareness could inspire a new generation of environmental sensors designed not to measure one thing, but to perceive the complex relationships between many factors at once, just as a human navigator does. This non-technological technology of perception may be the most sophisticated system of all, reminding us that the most powerful tool for understanding our world has always been our own attentive presence within it. That same principle of deep, sensory attention to the environment may explain the haunting acoustic phenomenon found in certain ancient structures. The stillness of the Greek theater at Epidaurus is broken by a single, unamplified whisper, a sound that travels with impossible clarity to the very last of its 14,000 stone seats. This is not a quirk of nature, but a masterpiece of acoustic engineering carved into the hillside. The secret is not in some lost material, but in the precise, mathematical rhythm of the seating itself. Each stepped row acts as a natural acoustic filter. The low-frequency rumble of the crowd, the shifting and coughing, is absorbed and scattered by the rough stone surfaces. Meanwhile, the higher frequencies of the human voice, the consonants and tones that carry meaning, are reflected perfectly from the hard, smooth fronts of the seats, channeled upward in a coherent wave. Acoustic engineer Dr. Elena Petrakis confirms that they engineered the soundscape using stone, achieving a clarity we now struggle with despite electronic amplification. Our modern venues often fight this basic physics, creating muddy echoes with flat, parallel walls and sound-absorbing materials that can deaden the very sounds we wish to hear. The ancient Greek approach offers a different path. By designing the shape and texture of a space from the ground up with sound in mind, we could create performance spaces where every word from the stage is heard naturally, without a forest of microphones and speakers. Lecture halls could be built so a professor's voice carries to the back row without straining. Public squares and transportation hubs could be engineered to reduce the stressful cacophony of crowd noise, creating more humane and accessible auditory environments for everyone. This was a perfect fusion of artistic vision and mathematical precision, a technology that understood the human ear as well as it understood stone. Just as these structures mastered the preservation of sound, our next discovery reveals how another civilization mastered the preservation of life itself through the simple, profound act of saving food. Inside a sealed Egyptian tomb, a jar of honey was found, still perfectly edible after 3,000 years. This was not a miracle, but a masterful application of food chemistry. The ancient Egyptians did not simply hope food would last. They engineered its survival using the most abundant tools they had: honey for its powerful antimicrobial properties, salt to draw out moisture from within the cells of bacteria, and natural desiccants like dry grains to create environments devoid of the water that decay requires. Some tomb offerings sealed within these anaerobic chambers remained recognizable for millennia because the very conditions for life, for microbial action, had been systematically eliminated. Food scientist Dr. Chloe Bennett clarifies that their methods worked with natural chemistry to inhibit spoilage organisms without refrigeration, a lesson in energy-free preservation. This is a profound shift in perspective from our modern reliance on constant, energy-intensive cold. we build vast refrigerated supply chains, a monumental achievement that nonetheless fails in regions without reliable electricity. What if we could augment this system, or even replace parts of it, with the passive, intelligent principles of the ancients? Rediscovering and optimizing these techniques could lead to a new generation of natural preservatives derived from plants and minerals, drastically cutting food waste in developing nations that lack cold storage. It could inspire sustainable, biodegradable food packaging that actively absorbs moisture or releases natural antimicrobial compounds, extending the shelf life of perishables from the market to the home. This ancient wisdom addresses one of our most critical modern challenges, global food security, not by inventing a new machine, but by remembering a timeless, elegant logic. This principle of harnessing natural energy brings us to our final and perhaps most enigmatic discovery, a technology that hints at a power source so clean and potent it has become the stuff of legend. The final entry on our list hovers in that tantalizing space between myth and forgotten physics. Ancient Indian texts such as the Samarangana Sutradhara do not offer vague legends of flight, but rather meticulous technical manuals. They speak of Vimanas, flying machines constructed in precise stages, with instructions for their metal alloys, their propulsion systems, and their stabilization in the air. Most intriguing are the descriptions of their power source, a mercury vortex engine, a concept that seems to leap from the pages of ancient scripture into the realm of advanced theoretical physics. The idea of using a rotating, heated mercury plasma to generate lift or thrust is not entirely foreign to modern aerospace concepts involving electromagnetic fields and ionic propulsion. Aerospace historian Dr. Arjun Mehta offers a compelling perspective, noting that whether allegory or lost science, these texts demonstrate sophisticated conceptual thinking about flight and propulsion systems far beyond their time. The true value here may not be in a literal reconstruction of a mercury-powered craft, but in the sheer act of conceptualization. These texts prove that the human mind was grappling with the fundamental problems of aerodynamics, energy conversion, and material science centuries before the Wright brothers left the ground. They represent a form of speculative engineering, a blueprint for imagination that could inspire entirely new avenues of research. Imagine unconventional aircraft designs that leverage rotating fluids for stability, or propulsion systems that draw power from atmospheric electricity, ideas that sound like science fiction today but may become the aviation realities of tomorrow. This final mystery beautifully blurs the line between legend and potential, reminding us that the greatest technologies are first conceived not in a workshop, but in the boundless landscape of human thought. From self-healing Roman concrete to the celestial computers of the Greeks, from the resilient stones of the Incas to the conceptual flight of the Vimanas, a single, powerful thread connects all 20 of these rediscovered marvels. It is the thread of profound intelligence, not as abstract knowledge, but as a practical, living partnership with the world. These were not technologies of domination, but of integration. The Nabateans did not conquer the desert, they collaborated with its hydrology. The Persian architects did not defeat the heat, they orchestrated the wind. The Polynesian navigators did not overpower the ocean, they learned its language. This is the common thread, a deep-seated wisdom that worked in harmony with natural forces, that used observation and elegance to solve problems with stunning efficiency and breathtaking sustainability. They built for the long term, designed for resilience, and thought in cycles, not in linear, disposable paths. In an age facing crises of resources and climate, this ancient blueprint is not a nostalgic look backward, but perhaps our most vital map forward. The greatest treasure we can unearth is not a specific artifact or a single formula, but this shift in perspective itself, a reminder that the most advanced future may be one that remembers the enduring wisdom of the past. These recurring patterns of ingenuity reveal a shared intellectual heritage across the ancient world, one that speaks a common language of elegant problem-solving. From the self-healing concrete of Rome to the wind-catching towers of Persia, these civilizations were not just skilled engineers, they were masterful systems thinkers. They looked at a desert and saw a potential cooling system in the wind. They looked at a mountain and saw a resilient structure in its stones. Futurist Dr. Lena Kowalski crystallizes this idea perfectly, noting that the common denominator is elegance, solving complex problems with simple, clever applications of physics and biology, a stark contrast to our energy-intensive solutions. This was a technology of context, deeply rooted in an intimate understanding of local materials, climate, and the timeless principles of the natural world. They built things to last for generations, valuing the long-term resilience of a community over the short-term convenience of a single user. This holistic perspective is perhaps the most valuable piece of lost knowledge we can recover. It offers us a powerful mirror to examine our own technological choices. Are we building systems that fight against the grain of nature, consuming vast energy to maintain a fragile balance? Or can we learn to build systems that are woven into that very fabric, becoming more stable and more efficient with time? These ancient innovations were not primitive attempts. They were sophisticated, time-tested adaptations to their world. They represent a different branch on the great tree of human progress, one that prioritized harmony with our planet as the highest form of achievement. And in that realization lies a hopeful blueprint for our own future. Our journey through these 20 forgotten marvels uncovers a deep reservoir of practical genius. From Roman concrete that mends itself to celestial computers and desert wind towers, our ancestors were not just builders, they were masterful systems thinkers. The true treasure lies not merely in the objects themselves, but in the powerful mindset that created them, a philosophy rooted in careful observation and a profound respect for natural cycles. They solved immense challenges through elegant adaptation rather than brute force. As we confront our own planetary challenges, from resource scarcity to a changing climate, these ancient blueprints offer more than a historical footnote. They present viable pathways toward a truly resilient future. The past is not a distant land, but a vast library of untapped potential. I would love to hear which of these rediscovered technologies you find most compelling for our world today. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to continue exploring the mysteries of history together.